All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. We are here to talk about promotions and Black Friday, sort of at Target. And so, here with you today, we have two folks. We have myself, we have Chris. Both of us starting to grow our beards out, like Chris Kringle here from Target, who is Target's, advertising spokesperson here this year.
Tis the
Um,
season.
yeah, you can see him kind of pictured here. It's been featured in all Target's ads the last couple of weeks. But um, a couple of logistics for today. If you have questions, we love questions. Put them in the Q&A. So the questions and answer actual tool that is part of Zoom. So if you put them in there, we will get to them either live right now or sort of at the end. We'll kind of do a wrap up with questions. I don't think the chat is enabled. I think just the Q&A. So make sure you try that if you want to put one in. From a agenda side, we have myself and we have Chris. And so, intros on us. Dave Glaza, I lead up the Digits team. And then Chris here leads up our Target team. So Chris, can you say hi?
Hey everybody. Yeah, looking forward to chatting promo and Black Friday here.
All right, we've got three things sort of on the agenda today. One, 'tis the season. We'll go through Target Black Friday highlights. Hopefully, a lot of folks went out and did some shopping, whether that be on your phone or on your laptop or old school, actually in person, driving into a store and getting something. That'll lead us into total year-end promo trends, kind of for Target. And then a few winning strategies. Obviously, people are here today to learn a little bit of what's going on at Target, take a few things away to kind of improve their business this year and next year. And so we will share sort of Digit's top five tips for promotional success as you enter into next year. For those that are newer to Digits that are on the call today, we are a independent retail media agency. For the purposes of today and in total, we really are the Target experts. Myself, I was at Target 14 years, both as a merchant and on the early days of the Cartwheel team. Chris was Target. A lot of our team was former Target, Roundel, merchants, site merch, whatnot. And our job is to staff up and really have a team of Target veterans to help our clients drive digital success and promotional success and retail media success back into Target. So we've been doing this for about the last 8 years now. A deep niche expertise into Target digital. And we work across this wide swath of brands and clients that make up about $6 billion in volume into Target. And so we have a lot of data and a lot of expertise in sort of what works, what doesn't work, and how to drive success. Outside of Target, we do also have national RMN services. So some of our clients will work on other retailers. We do work directly as a retailer agency of record for some retailers. We just launched out a Digits RMN, which is a collection of regional grocers and C-stores where we're managing retail media for them. And then we do a lot of work in the alcohol space as well. So if you happen to be an alcohol brand on the call, or if you have friends in the alcohol world, retail media there is about 10 years behind. And we are help leading kind of the charge, both at Target and nationally in that space. So that's a bit about us. So back to Target. Target's digital flywheel, which is sort of where we sit, very heavily in on media and promotions. So whether it be digital shelf, Target Circle, paid search, Roundel or Roundel programmatic, which you can do sort of yourself, or using 3P media offsite. All these digital touch points really drive back into Target. Often they're talking about promotions. And you see Target Circle here on this flywheel. And this has been our flywheel for the last, couple of years. But what's really taken shape this year is, we will not start to need to replace that Target Circle line from a flywheel to total promotions. So Target, when they relaunched Circle back in April, really expanded, the percentage of promotions that Circle touches, and also just kept continuing to lead into promotions. You'll see some data from us later in the deck that Target's just really pushing more promotions and it's becoming more and more important. So for us this year, a lot of our brand clients have asked us to take the processes that they've known for us for years with Circle and start to apply them past that under total promotion. So weekly ads, sales, TPCs, quotient offers, different things sort of all in the space, and how do we help manage that? So that's been a big push for us over the back half of this year since Target Circle relaunch. And that's what you'll see a lot of the data kind of coming through today is sort of through promotional support. So for us, the season is near. I'm going to get us into Black Friday. So Chris, bringing you back into the discussion here. Um,
Mhm.
what are your thoughts on Black Friday? Did you get out and shop? How did you personally experience sort of the Black Friday holiday this past weekend?
All digital in our household. It's been a few years before since we made the store trip. So on a personal level, we're doing it all on the phone for the most part. That's kind of our preferred mode. But yeah, I mean, sentiment kind of industry wide seems mostly positive from what it looks like. So, what are early reads that kind of we're seeing there, Dave? Zooming out from the total target lens, what is the industry reporting back on just total sales volume for the this period?
Yeah, I mean, so the articles that are out there, and it's on the screen here, quote, total retail up 3.4%. So Black Friday itself, a slight uptick. Most of that coming from digital. And I think, that's a similar what you'll see at Target. So, digital sales, industry quoted at up about 15%. Store sales generally flat, up somewhere between 0 and 1. I think what's interesting is, this year we've been talking about with our target clients is it's the shortest holiday season since 2019. So it's only checking my notes, 27 days of shopping between Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's about five less than kind of your average or your big ones. And I think so much of America thinks of holiday shopping as starts on Thanksgiving, right? It starts on Black Friday.
Mm-hmm.
For as much as retailers have tried to pull deals up into November, still the big season starts, on Thanksgiving. And so I think industry wise, is a quick start to Black Friday going to offset those less days? Or what are we going to see sort of in the space?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know we looked at last year's 2019 results, and the business was okay for the season, but in 2019, most of that business shifted into digital. And that was one of the earlier years. Digital was up, I think 15 or so percent that year. Total business flat-ish. So you can see it's somewhat similar to this year's early Black Friday results. And I think it just more leads to being need to be good in digital to drive success this year.
Mm-hmm.
What about it? So Chris, obviously you lead our target business. What are we seeing there?
Yeah, so early signs seem overall positive, and we have some data here that we'll share in a minute. But I would say two big pillars of Target's Black Friday strategy: the deals and promotions, and that is kind of consistent year over year. Target, like a lot of the big retailers, this is a big promotional window for them. They are going deep on deals. So we have some more data there, but the other big piece is the exclusive merchandising and specifically some of the Taylor Swift exclusives here. So they had the book, they had an exclusive version of her new album. We have just been seeing Target get a lot of credit, and I would say rightfully so, for really leaning into this exclusive merchandising. I know we just saw this morning some of the additional like Preston articles on that they sold. I believe it was over 800,000 copies of the Eras Tour book.
814,000 copies. Yeah.
Right. So that's obviously a huge number. And I think when you kind of put the puzzle pieces together and when we share some additional context on like what total promo has looked like at Target this year, I think that was a very savvy move to be able to drive trips and baskets using merchandising alongside of promotions that they have done in the past.
Yeah, I agree. I'm kicking myself. I have an 11-year-old who is super into Taylor Swift, and I didn't get one. So
Guilty, also guilty.
yeah, so I need to go try to find anything that's still hanging out. But if anybody in the chat has an extra copy, let me know. Um, but so within our categories, so a lot of our brands are food and essentials. We do manage brands across the store, but a lot of brands playing in retail media are heavy into food and essentials, and that's a lot of
Mhm.
what we do. Um, so what did you see actually in our client base? And this is for those on the call. This is fresh data. This is last week actuals. Everything's sort of refreshed on a weekly basis within our system. So Chris, what did the data tell us?
Yeah, so this is our digits aggregate, and yes, accurate that we are historically a little bit heavier in grocery and essentials, so have some data there. But we also do support some brands in what we consider more traditional Black Friday categories, home, kitchen, hard lines, what have you. And starting there, those Black Friday categories, maybe a little bit surprising. D-markdown spend was actually down 14%, which I think heading into this period we wouldn't have expected. Um, I think then when you kind of put that into context of okay, maybe you can supplement that with some of the exclusive merchandising. I think that combination has been a big win for Target this year, where you have the exclusive merchandising. You're still running Black Friday deals, but from what we've seen, a little bit more surgical in what and when they are promoting those deals this year versus last year. You can see a little bit of a change in average discount, down from 40% last year to 36%. Obviously, still a very high number. But yeah, overall theme, spend a little bit down, surprisingly, and a little bit more surgical, specifically in those Black Friday categories. Now, when we look at the grocery business, that was kind of the bigger shift. So a lot of the focus, obviously, on like Black Friday holiday shopping, but because the drive time lands, prior to Thanksgiving, that's a big grocery trip week for a lot of shoppers as well, prepping for Thanksgiving. We actually saw demarkdown spend in grocery and essentials up pretty significantly. So up 40% year on year versus 2023. Average discount a little bit more aggressive as well. You can see 22% versus 19 LY. They did have, from what drove that, what we could see in our client data, a little bit broader on their food and bev general incentive promotion this year versus last. Structured similarly, but higher reach, and thus higher markdown spend coming attached to that. Kind of add that up. Another corollary metric that we saw there is that really helped drive digital penetration too. So month of November, digital penetration in grocery was actually an all-time high for our Target clients. So nice win there. Typically, when Target is promotional, you'll see kind of digital penetration, moving alongside of that. So I would say diverging trends in those Black Friday versus grocery categories so far. Netting it out, interestingly, total Target is essentially flat in terms of demarkdown spend. So only up 1% when you kind of factor in Black Friday down, grocery essentials up in terms of demarkdowns, average discount there kind of netting out similarly, but just a little bit different mix this year. And overall, leading to good comps. We have also seen, in particular, store traffic being up according to industry sources. Target getting a lot of kudos there, up 17% in terms of store traffic this year versus last.
Yeah, that 17% number is huge. I mean, I think
Mhm.
obviously it's the data we saw is not 17% up in sales. And so a lot of those must
Right.
be single, smaller transactions, people coming in and grabbing a tail or something instead of a $400 TV.
Right.
And
Right.
so it'll be interesting to see Target's numbers actually when it all shakes out. But more people through the door is a good thing for everybody on this call. And so
Absolutely.
that's a good thing there. Yeah, the groceries is interesting. I mean, Target still has so much headroom on groceries. I mean, if you look at them versus Walmart and whatnot, and so continuing to see them lean in there to earn more share of wallet, more loyal customers makes sense. It's not a traditional Black Friday, sort of thing, but Thanksgiving is so food. And that's
Hmm.
just a
Hmm.
couple of days right before it. So cool. What about anything unique, Chris? Talk to me about daily deals and other unique stuff Target's doing.
Yeah, so Deal of the Day is a promotion that Target's been running the past few years now. And I would say it's continued to get better and better each year in terms of like how they are executing and curating those deals. But these are literally, 1 day deals that they run essentially through November and December. Every day you'll have up to two or three different daily deals. Good strategy for Target. Obviously, add some urgency to drive trips in traffic kind of in the moment. These are mostly target driven in terms of what's being curated, what they're deciding to run. But I would say semi open to vendors in the sense that if you have a good product or category that would be a fit for a daily deal, you can certainly propose that through your buyer as something that you would be interested in. Now, across our client base, we've had a good mix of our clients and their assortment participate in these 8 in total. You can see early reads on these overall very positive in terms of lift. So they will drive a ton of lift when they run them. On average, we are seeing about an 80% average unit lift across our client base. But because they are, trip drivers, there's generally more onus to go pretty deep to run something here. So you'll see, you can see in the screenshot here, a lot of like 30, 40% off type deals. So when you get that, deep and aggressive on spend, you'll drive lift, but you'll generally be a little bit less efficient in terms of your returns. So 80% lift, but a 1.4 ISR or ROI return on those promotions. Still good, but a little bit less efficient than what you might otherwise see with your everyday promotions at Target.
Yeah, a good way to move some units. And just looking at the graphic there for any parents of young children on the call, 40% off Pillow Fort today. So go in and get some Christmas shopping off your list if you want some stuffed animals, some sheets, some domestics, some toys, whatnot, within the Pillow Fort brand. So um, awesome. Well, let's kind of pull back a little bit because I think Black Friday, that's great data and that's great insights. And obviously that's, why people are here. But putting that's only 1 week, right? So putting that into context of the total year for Target, let's try to see sort of what is the data seeing for us on an annual spend point of view.
Yeah, and
So
I know we've been tracking this, very closely throughout the year, but I know we've got a lot of, new folks on this call here that may not have seen some of this. So when we zoom out, what are we seeing from an overall, promo and demarkdown activity across our target clients?
yeah, I mean the headline is Target is becoming more and more promotional. They are spending money on promotions in a way to try to earn loyalty, earn traffic, earn business sort of with the shopper. So our data showcases that 21% year to date more promo markdown spend year over year versus this time last year. So there's a lot of reasons why that could be. I mean, it could be prices are up with inflation, so vendors slash Target are trying to bring those prices back down on a promo level. It's overall just customer choices around promotions, and feels like we say this every year, but every year the customer's buying more and more stuff on promotions. They're just getting more accustomed to wanting things on sale to press the buy button. Whether that's a digital influence thing, whether that's just consumer trends or whatnot. I just feel like that's happening every year. It also could be comping last year's bad business. So Target had challenges with Pride and Backlash and a lot of that. They needed to do some stuff to try to earn some business.
Yeah, tell me more about that. It's especially it looks like we have some pretty stark trends of like, first half markdown spend, obviously being according to this chart up pretty considerably, and then you kind of see a little bit of a pullback further into the year. What do we think we're seeing there?
Yeah, two things. One, definitely Target was trying to drive business out of the gate, Q1 and Q2. So specifically, they were comping, or they were with the Pride challenges from the year before. I think Target knew that they needed to try to drive some business and pay for it a little bit with promotions. So that's why you saw the big step up in Q1, Q2. The other thing that happened there was they made the switches with Circle. So Q2, they made switches with Circle. I think they got a little surprised with the auto apply and how much money that was spending a little bit, because I know
Mhm.
some of our vendors got surprised with how much those were. So I assume maybe to target too. And then I think the third thing is there were some tough conversations with brands kind of early Q2 when those bills started rolling in. And Target merchants were like, "Oh, we're up 43% in Q1 promo. Like, can you keep funding me like that for the year?" Right? And vendors are like, "No, I don't have 43% more money this year than last year, right? Like, we got to figure this out." And so I think there was a level of fiscal responsibility that's also happening. And so whether that's Target on their own items or Target pulling down aggregate ones because they know they're not going to get them all funded. And so kind of managing that. But I think they've certainly corrected that trend. They're still going to end the year way up because they're still 21 now. So there's no way that they're going to be able to go under by the end of the year. But the trend is definitely in the more conservative way. I think fast forwarding next year, Chris, have you heard from vendors expectations for Target for 25 from promo?
I think relatively flat heading into the year. I think not quite as much disruption this year in terms of like Target sales challenges really happened, middle of 2023. So in terms of like what they need to comp, I think that will be a little bit more stable. I think heading into the year, expectation should be, generally flat in terms of demarkdown spend year over year. I think the big question will be wrapping our heads around how much of that is going to be target driven, more enterprise level promotions, which we have definitely seen increase this year. And how much of that is going to be a pool of demarked down dollars that, vendors can more directly use to drive their own business.
No. But when you say flat, just to sort of confirm that for all, so flat bakes into this upside. So
Correct.
if you as a
Yes.
brand are up 20% year over year, and you spent an extra X and Y dollars into Target, Target's still expecting you to come back with that again next year.
At,
Uh,
at this point, yes, that's what I'd be anticipating as a brand.
yeah. Um, well, and think we're gonna, for those on the call, we're gonna pop up a poll. And so if you see a poll pop up, take a look, provide an answer to that. Oh, here it is. There you go. Which Target promo vehicle delivers the best ROI? You're only allowed to choose one. So put your chose in there, and we as hosts and panelists cannot vote. So hopefully we get enough from you guys to sort of see where that's at. But the reason we're asking that poll is, when Target made their changes with Circle back in April, that they've talked about trying to relaunch it and be simpler for the shopper. Auto apply. The shopper doesn't want to jump through these hoops, and I think largely that's true. It is a little bit simpler for the shopper today. You don't have to pull out your phone. You don't have to click all these deals. Like if you can still do that because there's some, quotient deals in there, but you don't have to. You can still save the vast majority of dollars at Target without going in and clicking deals. But the challenges to the vendor community is Target's promos landscape is complicated. I mean, if you just look at this chart, Chris and I tried to lay this out in a way that was simple, and this still isn't very simple. Like that's just how complicated it can be. So you can see here that we've got what source, whose source is the offer, what vehicle is the offer getting put in, what handles would there be? Is it dollar off, percent off, BOGOs? Who do you want to target? Is it a mass offer? Is it an audience offer? Is it geo? And then what's your scope? Is it an item based, category based, whatnot within the space? So there's a ton of decisions. Some of these within the control of the brand, and some of them not. And I think this has continued to be complicated at Target within the space. So, I mean, Chris, do you agree? Are brands confused at what to do?
Absolutely. And I would say often varies by category. So I think there is there is general guidance that is issued through, loyalty marketing and PPCOE teams of what this landscape looks like. But then certain categories do, add their own nuances of what they do and don't want vendors to be participating in here and types of specific promotions they want running. And then you'll see here too, like some of the detail of like there are capabilities that are available in a lot of cases, but may not be leveraged very often, or might not be the right use case. You can see in the lighter blue here. So yes, absolutely, a lot of complexity, and even using this as a standard, understanding like what does and doesn't apply or might look a little bit different, specifically in your category is important.
Cool. Well, I think, one of the things that we wanted to bring to this is now that we have sort of updated our algorithms and our processes to run all of Target promotions through our incremental sales tool in Calc. And so that is live. We've been working and putting that in beta throughout the year, and it is now up and running within our client set. And so we've analyzed over 4,000 promotions And one thing you can see is you can start to break them out by funding source. So did the vendor initiate it? Did Target initiate it? By different promo vehicles, like is it a circle offer? Is it a circular offer? Is it a TPC? And then different promo types. And so that's why we wanted to get the vehicles. And you can see, Chris, if you can see the promo result, the poll, we have some very smart folks on this call. You guys should all be promo experts already. Because I've talked about Circle enough in my 8 years as Digits that I'm glad to see that the majority of people did write Circle. So Circle is best promo vehicle, and our data would show the same thing. Um, Circular and TPC, from a results point of view, largely similar. I mean, they're very similar promotions at Target, and the idea that they get a shelf sign, they get they get the PDP price comes down, it's available for mass, it's available for everybody. Obviously, TPCs just aren't as advertised, right? They're not in the ad, they're not in the flyer. They're usually not attached to Roundel as much. There's just a little less eyeballs in the space. But from an effectiveness point of view, more similar. Even though we do see a little bit better incrementality on circular, largely probably due to that additional marketing that gets out there and gets pushed extra eyeballs into the space. But so with that, so now that we have access to all this 4,000 data, Chris, I'm going to tee you up because for those on the call that know Chris, Chris is our resident data nerd, data expert, promo case study. Like our target COE really prides ourselves on, we are the ones that, come to the play to do the extra analysis and get deep and get nerdy within the space and then bring that value back to our clients. So I asked Chris to prep for this, 5 tips to kind of get into, into promo strategy. And so Chris is going to walk us through these kind of within the space.
Perfect. Thanks, Dave. And yeah, overall, to kind of tee up the all 5 here. Some of these are a little bit more data driven, and I think the goal here is we have a likely, variable mix of different brands that play in different categories on the call here. These may not apply to everyone, but hopefully there's 1, 2, 3 of these that you can take home and apply to your business coming out of this webinar. Then first one, then if you want to jump back to the segmented offers there, Dave,
I
is
just apparently they showed all the secrets. I don't know how I clicked ahead like 5 slides.
yeah,
So,
secrets out. We can skip this whole part now.
okay.
No, joking. But yeah, starting with the first one would be segmented circle offers. And to specify here, when we say segmented, we are typically referring to audience segmented circle offers and not geo segmented, which you can also do, and there are separate use cases for. Um, the way these audience segmented circle offers work and the reason they are valuable and important, and I would say especially in the world of new circle, where those deals now auto apply, and this is going to be a little bit of a common thread through multiple of these, is that in the new circle environment where these deals are auto applying, one of the impacts we have seen is that people are getting these deals. In a lot of cases, they may not even know about it. If it's a brand that they shop regularly, once a week, a couple times a month, these deals are now auto applying for these target guests. And they, again, may not even know that they are, getting the deal or raising their hand for them. The way to offset that then, or one of the ways, is to leverage these audience segmented offers. And our typical best practice use case here is going after audiences that shop your category, but not your brand, to put in the simplest terms. So in the example here, if you manage the Tylenol brand, a way you would apply that with a segmented circle offer would be going after shoppers that shop the health category broadly, but have not made a recent Tylenol purchase. And the reason that works and helps drive promo efficiency, I would say, is less so who you are going after in terms of like category shoppers. And the secret sauce is really that you are not serving up promotions and deals to your already loyal Tylenol shoppers, and thus avoiding subsidizing guests that are regularly buying your brand. So again, in this auto apply, circle world, a good way to kind of offset that and really make sure you're driving promo efficiency and incrementality.
So, Chris, so for people that have been in shopper marketing and in loyalty and in coupons, this is obviously not a new strategy, right? Like trying to go after category buyers. So,
Absolutely. Like this goes back even to like the days of, Catalina, receipt print at the register coupons use very similar, strategies and tactics for audience segmentation. So, correct, not new.
but then what? So my question is like, why are people not doing it? Like what in your experience, like because what's holding some folks back from doing that? Is it a knowledge thing? Is it a process thing? Like what why is this less common than you would think it should be?
I think both those things, both dynamics that you highlighted there. I think audience segmentation is typically not a skill set or expertise that most shopper marketing folks have deep expertise in. Certainly not to this level. And then I think just a knowledge of process. So this is a capability that has existed at Target for Circle for a couple of years, even prior to the relaunch of Circle in April of this year. But not a lot of documentation or best practices that Target has shared out to help vendors kind of navigate how to execute this.
Got it. All right, what do we got next?
Number two then would be BOGO. So I would say similar dynamic here of leveraging BOGO offers to offset the auto apply here. So in this case study here, you can see this is a grocery brand that we worked with, and we have a really nice sample size of data here where you can see in this chart, we ran a 20% off, more traditional circle offer here, off single units. Again, this deal is going to auto apply to all circle users. And then later on, we have a couple of BOGO 25% offers. Now, the reason the BOGOs are so effective here, and I'll kind of highlight some of the performance in a moment, is because of the auto apply, anyone buying even one unit of this brand is going to get that 20% off deal. Whereas on the BOGO, that only unlocks, if you will, if you are putting two or more units in the basket. So a nice kind of workaround to kind of offset some of the promo subsidization that we are seeing in some cases with single unit mass circle offers. In this particular case, this brand improved their ROI from about a 1.3 on the mass circle offer against a single unit to a 2.7 on the BOGOs. And you can kind of see how that dynamic plays out in their top line sales performance. So in blue there, you can see the promo units. And the big thing that we're looking at is not only how many incremental units are we driving above baseline, but how much are we spending to subsidize with promotions below that reg sales baseline? And you can see that's where the single unit mass offer didn't perform quite as well. Again, so many people were getting it that were purchasing single units and just a greater degree of promo subsidization there.
Got it. So what about for folks that struggle with map pricing? Like
Yeah, yeah.
how does Circle or how does Target offer options there?
Yeah, this is a good one because we do work with quite a few brands that have some map sensitivity. So biggest recommendation there would be leveraging DFSIs if you have issues there. So DFSIs, for those that don't know, are digital manufacturer coupons. Today, those are executed through Neptune, formerly Quotient. And the reason that they can be used as a workaround around either MAP or any price and promo sensitive categories at Target is that unlike traditional circle offers or other promotions, they are not applied as markdowns. So the DFSIs get applied at POS as tender. And because they are not thus considered a discount, They are a great tool for map sensitive brands to use to kind of be able to drive business with promotion, but again, not have those count as discounts or markdowns, and avoiding rocking the mothership that way.
Got it. Yeah, this is definitely less known within salespeople. I think obviously, again, similar to the question on or the comment on category offers, map offers like this, yeah, true shopper marketers have been doing for a long time, right? Like national
Right.
advertising
Yep.
coupons. But not every brand into Target has a experienced veteran shopper marketer person that knows how to run these on a national scale. And I think understanding how to apply those in is sort of a unique gap for a lot of brands on how to kind of manage this into Target.
Yeah, and even just the awareness of the financials as well.
Chris, we did have one question, one live question. So back on the BOGO, was it the same products for both for the first offer and the BOGO?
In this case, it was
Exact
yes.
same
So,
UPC set or whatnot?
exact same UPCs that we ran against that one.
Got it. And there was another question that came in that I was starting to type, but it's hard to multitask when you're doing two things on a webinar. So I'll get that in. But a question on timelines for circle activations. And so the answer here, as I flip to the next one, is most merchants now are asking you to submit circles on the quarterly process. I think that's the preferred happy path. Get ahead of it. Let Target sort of see everything. So we want to submit as many offers quarterly as we can. But then based upon business, it's 6 to 8 weeks out to actually submit your offer. Beyond that, if this is an emergency, you can get buyer approval for business critical late additions, especially coming into holiday. These times of years, merchants are a little bit more willing to put an email out there with buyer critical. And so I would say you can always ask is the answer, but the lower the acceptance rate, the closer in you're asking for the offer.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing I'd add as a best practice here, and just kind of looking at this question of like it being used as more of a reactionary lever to alleviate a markdown liability. Plan ahead with contingency offers that you may or may not run. Because the lead times are so long, there is more flexibility to cancel an offer closer in to when it's scheduled to go live than you can submit something new on a short timeline. So if that is a persistent issue in your business, proactively set up these contingency offers, assuming that you may need to run them, and then if you don't, as you get closer in, cancel them.
Yeah, and that's a great tip also for new items. I would be what's the saying? If I had a nickel for every time somebody complained they didn't put products in, I'd be a rich man. But like we have a lot of calls with clients or prospective clients that are like, we don't want to do any activities on a new item because we don't want
We'll,
to,
we'll wait and see how it does first, right?
yeah, we'll wait and see how it does, right? And then all of a sudden, 6 or 8 weeks in, it's not doing what you want it to do. And then they're like, hey, digits, let's get some circle offers in. And we're like, oh, like it's going to be a little while, right? And so, very much even on new items in a seasonal strategy to pre-plan those, always easier to cancel, kind of as you go along.
Right. And those new item timelines, as far as when Target's making decisions, that window can close fast. So yes, definitely want to be as proactive as you can there.
Awesome.
Number four, then, this one's a little bit unique, but saw some great success with one of our clients leveraging what we would call a trip driver promo. So if you have a big assortment with complementary brands and items, really looking at one to be the hero, going super deep on promotion, and using that to drive halo impact to the rest of the assortment. And rest of the assortment can either be off promo completely, or you can layer in much lower discounts so that there's something for that guest to react to, but you don't have to go quite as deep because you have that trip driver promotion for one of your brands, driving traffic to the category. In this case, this was a highly seasonal brand, as you can see with some of their sales trends. They ran a trip driver promotion very deep against one of their brands, and for the most part, stayed off promo for the rest of their assortment. And what was interesting here is that we saw great halo impact to the rest of the assortment that was, off or very light promo, despite not really having to do anything, right? So that hero brand, that drove the trip. And then we saw impact of a bunch of the other brands and assortment kind of making it in the basket because people were already shopping it. In this case, the Halo brand shown here saw a 95% year over year unit comp to that Halo brand, really just drafting off of the Trip Driver brand that was driving the trip to the category. So again, this is not one that may work in every category, but if you do have highly seasonal businesses like this or a big assortment with a lot of complementary items and brands, this is a great strategy to look into.
Awesome. Yeah, I think these ones, the results here is always harder to see a little bit, right? Because it's not always the items on the promotion. But sometimes if you're struggling to get, raise the money, if you will, internally to fund a promo, sometimes, if you look at follower items, you can help build the business case, right? To sort of fund these promos to drive your total business.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a great call out too. Like when we saw brand B have this huge comp with not much promo activity, we were like, what's going on here? And that's where we could kind of pull in the context of like, oh, it was actually this other brand, really driving the traffic to the category and everyone else benefiting.
Got it. Well, Chris, we got your last one coming up. What's your last tip for people on target promo?
Yeah, so media boost. So this has been a big trend across our clients, in particular this past year. And I would say this is not necessarily a new concept. Retail media has been used to amplify promotions for a number of years now. I would say what's been new to us is how we've been using it, and really taking the approach that is a little bit different than the way that retail media is typically planned and executed, and building it more bottoms up around your promo calendar. And you can see kind of in the visuals here, on this slide kind of why that is needed and has been the case. The typical retail media calendar, you're going to be running longer 6, 8 week flights against your brands in a lot of cases. And then when you overlay that on a typical promo calendar, that's not really how a promo calendar is structured for a lot of vendors at Target, where you have all these kind of week on and off pulses in here. So really the key to doing this well is building it bottoms up around the promo calendar, which means you are going to run, applying it to this visual here, a lot of, shorter 1 and 2 week types of campaigns. It does put more onus on like your media partner and their operations to make sure that they can, execute and drive performance within those shorter windows. But kind of building it with that bottoms up approach is where we've kind of seen the most success. And when we do that, our clients have been seeing around 3 to 5% lifts on top of the lift that they are already seeing from the promo. And that last piece is key too. Because of this use case, you need to make sure that you have your measurements set up with your media so that you know what lift am I getting just for my media that's not coming from my promotions as well, to understand kind of that dynamic.
Yeah. I mean, to me, this just makes so much sense. I'm so happy that we've been doing more of this with brands this year. I mean, merchants, brands spend a lot of time and effort on two things. One, your promotions. What's your promotional plan? How much time and effort is spent on planning those out? And you spend a ton of time on RMN, on media. But over the last couple of years, the interface between the two has just been less and less. And
Hmm.
I think for and I don't understand why. It doesn't seem right. Like if anybody that follows me on LinkedIn, and if you don't go out there and follow, there was a whole discussion about a week ago. I posted a picture of the first ever Black Friday ad that I had as a merchant back in 2004. And there was then a whole discussion around how just paper ads aren't go out anymore. Nobody sees them, which is true. But if
Mhm.
you think of the fact that Target and all these grocers used to spend so much money every single week shipping millions of these ads to people's homes, either in the newspaper or in the mail, and that all kind of died with COVID. And then now, shoppers aren't seeing what's on sale every week. Like it's not hitting them in. Like they have to go find it, right? They have to go to Target and look to see what's on sale. And so I think strategies like this helps fill that gap of like how are we as a brand community still finding our shoppers that want to save on Haagen-Dazs this week and showing them that ad versus just waiting for them to come to Target, right? And then be like, oh, by the way, it's $1 off, right? Like
Hmm.
go find them, tell them it's on sale, drive the traffic, not just hope to boost conversion once they're actually already there.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like I mentioned too. It's a little bit more challenging to do that with the way that RMN is typically executed, like to get full coverage against your promo calendar. So that's kind of where that bottoms up approach has been key.
Yeah, I think we'll end up seeing more of this via digits, looking for new things in this space that I think helps drive this even better. But I think this will be a big trend in the coming years. But with that, that wraps up the top five. So Chris's top five tips within the space. And so I know we've already had some Q&A come in. Hopefully people are comfortable popping them in there. If anybody else has some, pop them in now because we're about to wrap up. Otherwise, our emails are on here. Dave at Digits Agency is mine. Chris at digitsagency.com is Chris. You can email us or you can find us on LinkedIn. We're pretty active. And if you send us messages there, we'll respond that way. But from a summary for today's Black Friday and promo discussions, Chris, can you kind of walk us through some of the summaries and key takeaways?
Yeah, so just kind of rehashing some of the big takeaways. So in terms of targets, Black Friday, I know the big things that we highlighted are just the combination of more surgical with promotions and the exclusive merchandising with the Taylor Swift book and album, both adding up to a Black Friday win for Target. And then TBD on how the rest of the season is going to look like for Target and all of retail, really, just with those five fewer holiday shopping days. In terms of year-end promo trends at Target, I know we shared that markdown spend is, up pretty significantly in this year. We talked about Circle, being the top ROI promo vehicle, and then just the reality that that landscape at Target is both vast and complex. There's a lot you can do, but it's also challenging in a lot of cases to navigate. So just making sure that you have a good team and partners to help navigate that. And then the top strategies that we walked through, the segmented offers, BOGOs, DFSIs, trip driver promotions, and then the media boosts, all being arrows in your quiver, if you will, for next year that can be applied.
Awesome. Yeah, I think Chris, thanks for leading us through all this. And I think you do need to say the Christmas saying as
This
well.
is for you. I was hoping you would the music notes are for
You
you
can
to sing
sing
there,
for it.
Dave. I was
Good promo tidings we bring for you and your team. I'll have to work on my
exactly.
actual musical singing, but maybe we'll do that for our next one. But awesome. Thank you everybody for joining us today. Again, shoot us some questions. I know there was one on the deck, so we will send out an auto email will come out usually in a day or two with the recording, with a link to the recording to share, watch yourself or share with your team. And then if you do want the actual slides with any of the case studies or whatnot, just shoot me an email and I can just follow up that way. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day and if a great start of the holidays.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Bye bye.